Will Levis just got cut by the Tennessee Titans after leaked footage threw the franchise into chaos. With pressure building inside the locker room and across social media, Tennessee decided to move on from their starting quarterback. But don't go anywhere, because the hidden clause buried in Levis's rookie deal could completely destroy the millions he's still expected to make. On May 24, 2024, at least 2 separate video clips, purportedly showing Will Levis having sex with influencer Gia Duddy, began spreading online, with X accounts sharing the clips that day, garnering thousands of likes within 5 days. It was swift, it was brutal, and it landed at one of the most sensitive moments imaginable. Right in the middle of Levis's bid to establish himself as the Tennessee Titans starting quarterback. The timing was catastrophic. Levis was already dealing with AC joint issues in his throwing shoulder. He had been benched at points during the 2024 season, with then backup Mason Rudolph getting chances. His completion percentage was down, his interception rate was up, and now this private content from years ago surfacing. At the exact moment his football career needed zero distractions. Over the following days, posts and memes referring to the leaked videos went viral on social media. On May 25, 2024, a TikToker posted a meme referring to the videos that gained over 833,000 views in 4 days. On the same day, another TikToker posted a meme about the video that gained over 3 million views in the same span of time. The internet didn't just talk about it, it ran with it. And it ran hard. The rumored sex tape gained viral spread in late May 2024, with some on TikTok and X referring to Levis's genitalia as his cannon, making reference to a quote spoken by Levis during an interview, in which he called his throwing arm a cannon that he wanted to show off. It was the kind of moment that, once it happens, never fully goes away, no matter how much you try to contain it. What made the timing even more pointed is that Levis and Duddy had split after 3 years of dating in September 2023. Less than a year later, their names would be trending once again, but for all the wrong reasons. The breakup had been quiet. No public statement, no drama. Months after the breakup, his girlfriend had become his ex, as he was set to begin his career with the Tennessee Titans. Neither party would reveal why. And then, out of nowhere, the tape surfaces, arriving in the space between a breakup and a new chapter, turning what should have been a clean break into a full-blown public crisis. Nobody knew who was responsible for the leak. One theory suggested that Duddy might have leaked the videos as some kind of revenge, even though she was equally violated. That obviously was not the case. She had nothing to do with it. But those rumors spread just as fast as the tape itself. And in the court of public opinion, a rumor doesn't need to be true to stick. Meanwhile, on the field, things were deteriorating just as rapidly. Levis began the 2024 season with a rocky start, going 1-4 during his first 5 games, while completing 86 of 125 passes for 699 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. 7 interceptions in 5 games. Brian Callahan expressed frustration with the erratic passer and benched him at points. The tape was going viral. His shoulder was compromised. His coach was losing faith, and the Titans front office was already looking ahead. The renewed attention on the 2024 sex tape leak involving NFL quarterback Will Levis and his ex-girlfriend Gia Duddy intensified after new comments from his mother shed further light on the investigation. The incident, which saw private content circulate widely online without consent, remained a persistent source of scrutiny for both individuals. And now, in May 2026, 2 years on, the tape is going viral all over again. New audiences, new memes, same raw wound. It had been 2 years since that moment. And now that dreaded sex tape was back, going viral once more, which is exactly what prompted Beth Levis, Will's mother, to finally speak. And what she revealed about how that tape got out in the first place changed the entire narrative. But before we get to what she said and what it means for her son's future with the Titans, you need to understand exactly who these 2 people were in the public eye and how they got there. To understand just how public and humiliating the tape leak was, you have to understand exactly who these 2 people were in the public eye and how they got there. Gia Duddy first met Will Levis at Penn State. They started dating shortly before he transferred to the University of Kentucky and stayed together throughout the remainder of her college career. So this was not a fleeting relationship. This was a multi-year partnership that grew alongside both of their public profiles, hers as an influencer, His as a football prospect on the rise. William Donovan Levis is an American professional football quarterback for the Tennessee Titans of the National Football League. He played college football for the Penn State Nittany Lions and Kentucky Wildcats before being selected by the Titans in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft. But the number 33, the pick he was selected at, doesn't tell you the full story of what that day looked like. Despite initially being projected as a first-round pick, even being rumored to go first overall, just days before the draft, Levis surprisingly fell to the second day of the 2023 NFL Draft, where the Tennessee Titans traded up to select him with the 33rd overall pick in the second round. Let that sink in. Days before the draft, people were talking about him as the first overall pick. Then draft night arrived, and he sat and sat. The first round came and went without his name being called. Cameras caught him in the green room, his girlfriend beside him, watching in real time as his projected millions evaporated pick by pick. Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis lost millions by slipping past the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Widely projected as a top 10 pick, he was selected by the Tennessee Titans at number 33, after the Titans traded up with the Cardinals to land the second pick in the second round. According to Spotrac data, Levis's draft slide cost him up to $20 million. Once considered a candidate for the no-one overall pick, his 4-year rookie contract had a projected value of $9.54 million, with a $3.94 million signing bonus. For comparison, Anthony Richardson, a QB on par with Levis in most draft rankings, was projected to earn $33.99 million, with a $21.72 million signing bonus. But despite the financial hit, the football world still saw potential. Levis had elite arm strength, but often got stuck on his first read and did not complete full field progressions. Talent evaluators had to determine how much of his struggles were related to a weak supporting cast, injury, and what was fixable. The ceiling was real. The question was always whether the floor would swallow him first. And it was at that 2023 draft, the one that made the whole world aware of who Will Levis was, that Gia Duddy became a household name too. She first went viral at the NFL Draft when her then-boyfriend was picked number 33 overall by the Tennessee Titans. She had approximately 60,000 followers at the time. After that night, with the cameras catching her reaction to every pick that wasn't his, her following exploded. She became almost involuntarily one of the most recognizable NFL AGs in America. So when the tape dropped in May 2024, it wasn't falling on strangers. It was dropping on two people who had built real public profiles. One as a rising NFL quarterback, one as a full-time content creator with millions watching. The exposure was total, and the silence from both parties in the immediate aftermath. Neither party ever spoke out about it, knowing that any comment would only make it go even more viral, made the silence itself part of the story. The weight of that silence, and the weight of the rumors that filled it, would hang over both of them for 2 full years, until Will Levis's mother decided enough was enough. The tape had been out there for 2 years with no real explanation, just speculation and damaging theories about who leaked it and why. And then in May 2026, Will Levis's mother, Beth Levis, sat down on the Ross Tucker football podcast and blew the entire cover off. Speaking publicly for the first time in detail, Beth Levis described efforts by her son to uncover how the material was obtained and distributed, pointing to a complex cyber breach rather than a personal leak from within their circle. This was not a bitter ex. This was not someone in their inner circle who wanted to cause chaos. The truth, when it finally came out, was far more chilling than any of the gossip. Beth revealed that the leaking of the explicit video was the work of Eastern European hackers. She said her son called her and apologized profusely once he became aware that it was out there, and the details of that phone call are gut-wrenching. The first words out of Will's mouth were, "I'm so sorry, Mom, and it just broke my heart," she said. A 24-year-old man, a professional athlete who had spent his entire life preparing for the moment he was living, reduced to apologizing to his mother for something that was done to him, not by him. Will Levis spent an exorbitant amount of money to pull his sex tape with ex-girlfriend Gia Duddy out of circulation. That is according to the quarterback's mother, who appeared on the Ross Tucker football podcast, where she discussed the trauma it caused. The operation was comprehensive. Will Levis spent a lot of money to find the source of the leak, and to get as much of the content scraped from the internet as possible. but a digital footprint will always exist. But it wasn't just about removing the content. It was about finding out who did it. According to Beth Levis, a lengthy and costly investigation determined that the private content was stolen from his phone and/or laptop while he was in college. Her son and his girlfriend were the target of a notorious Eastern European hacking group. We did find out that actually this content was stolen, and his private either laptop or digital platform phone was actually breached and invaded a year or two earlier when he was in college, Beth explained. For trying to target what they think might be an attractive couple, they can then expose and do what they do for attention. The timeline is important here. The hack didn't happen in the spring of 2024 when the tape dropped. The investigation reportedly found that the breach did not originate from someone close to the former couple. Instead, it was traced back to a compromised device dating from Levis's college years. One of his personal devices had been accessed without authorization, allowing private material to be stolen long before it surfaced publicly. So these hackers have been sitting on this material, potentially for years, waiting for the right moment, waiting until Levis was famous enough that releasing it would cause maximum damage, waiting until the world knew who he was, who she was, and had a reason to care. And they timed it perfectly, dropping it during his first full season as the Titans starter, right when his mechanics were falling apart, right when his coach was losing patience, right when the organization was already beginning to look past him, and ruled out suggestions of betrayal from acquaintances or former partners, and for a family that had been living under the cloud of those rumors. The suggestions that Gia had done this, or that someone in their circle had betrayed them. We actually came to terms with that. At least we knew where it came from, she said. It wasn't something malicious from who knows, somebody else. That small piece of resolution, knowing it wasn't someone they trusted, was the only comfort in what remained an ongoing and deeply personal violation. But while the Levis family was pursuing hackers across international borders, spending money they couldn't afford to lose and trying to contain the damage, another collapse was happening in plain sight. Will Levis's football career was falling apart in real time. While the tape was blowing up online, Will Levis still had a football career to fight for. And the story of what happened to that career is, in its own way, just as turbulent as the off-field drama. On October 29, 2023, with Tannehill sidelined by an ankle injury, Levis made his NFL debut and first start, finishing with 238 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. During a 28-23 victory over the Atlanta Falcons, 4 touchdowns on debut. It was the kind of entrance that makes an entire fan base exhale. Levis made the first rookie quarterback to throw a debut TD quartet since Marcus Mariota. The arrow was pointing straight up. Levis finished his rookie year with 1,808 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in 9 games and starts. Efficient, promising. The Titans had their guy, or so it seemed. But then 2024 arrived. Levis became the Titans starting quarterback in 2024. Following the departures of Tannehill and Willis, he began the season with a rocky start, going 1-4 during his first 5 games, while completing 86 of 125 passes for 699 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. 7 interceptions in 5 games. The floor that scouts had always worried about was showing itself in the most unforgiving arena possible. Levis first began dealing with AC joint issues in his throwing shoulder on September 30th, 2024. He dove for a first down early in a road game against the Dolphins and had to leave the game with a shoulder designation. That injury would define the next chapter of his career, not just because of what it did to his 2024 season, but because of the cascade it set off that would carry all the way into 2026. The shoulder compromised his mechanics, his release slowed, his accuracy suffered. Every throw became a calculation, not just of coverage and timing, but of whether his body could physically execute what his mind was calling for. And the more he compensated, the worse his decision-making became. The interceptions piled up. The benching became inevitable. After showing some promise as a rookie, the Kentucky product did not take a step forward in 2024. Brian Callahan expressed frustration with the erratic passer and benched him at points, giving then backup Mason Rudolph chances. Being benched in your second year with a shoulder injury undermining your mechanics, while your coach is visibly losing faith, that is a career on the edge. And then the Titans used the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft on Cam Ward. The Titans turned aside interest in the first overall pick that spring to select Cam Ward. He was set to handle starting quarterback duties for the foreseeable future, but it remained to be seen if Will Levis would remain in Tennessee for 2026. The writing was on the wall. The organization had moved on. The only question was whether Levis would accept a backup role or demand a trade to compete somewhere else. And then came the decision that shook what remained of Levis's standing in Tennessee. He continued to play and train through the shoulder injury into 2025, but the issue never fully resolved. He decided to shut himself down and get surgery on the AC joint in July of 2025, just as training camp was starting up. This was a controversial decision at the time, as the timing seemed to some like a guy who didn't want to compete for a backup job behind the rookie Ward. After losing his starting job during a rocky 2024, being replaced by Cam Ward in 2025, and choosing to get shoulder surgery that knocked him out of this past football season, Levis had all but disappeared from the picture. A man who had once been talked about as the first overall pick was now a ghost on his own team's depth chart. Invisible, injured, and increasingly irrelevant. The tape had gone viral, the career had collapsed, and now, heading into 2026, the only question left was whether the Tennessee Titans would cut their losses entirely, or whether there was one last chapter left to write. This is the question that brings everything together. The tape, the injury, the benching, the draft picks, the Mother's podcast appearance going viral in the same week, that his roster future is being debated league-wide. What does the Tennessee Titans organization actually do with Will Levis? The answer, despite what the noise on the internet might suggest, is more complicated than a simple cut. Many around the league thought Will Levis could be traded during the 2026 NFL draft, but nothing came to fruition. It's likely that teams were hesitant to give up draft capital for a quarterback who hasn't been on the field in over a year. The trade market that everyone assumed would materialize, the one that was supposed to send Levis somewhere he could compete for a starting job and restore his value, simply never came to life. No takers, no offers worth accepting. Silence. And that's the brutal math of his situation. The longer he goes without playing, the less leverage the Titans have to extract value for him, and the less incentive any team has to take on the risk. Who's going to trade a real draft pick for a quarterback who's been invisible for a full season, whose mechanics were already compromised before the surgery, whose confidence has been publicly shattered, and whose private life has been dragged through the mud on a scale most players never experience? Meanwhile, the Titans' own roster has been moving aggressively around him. Veteran Mitchell Trubisky was brought in this offseason as backup. The Titans also have Hendon Hooker on the roster, who is at least interesting. Think about that construction. The Titans went out and acquired a veteran backup, someone already in the role Levis might have hoped to occupy, and then added Hooker on top of that. Levis could still get traded this summer, and if he doesn't, many don't see him on the final roster. What team is going to trade a real draft pick or player for Levis when they haven't seen him do anything football-related in a full season's time? The Titans won't move him unless an offer of legitimate value is on the table. That's the bind. They can't get value. They don't want to cut him for nothing, but they also have no real use for him if the backup job is already spoken for. Levis is currently participating in the Tennessee Titans off-season workouts and OTAs. He is locked in a competitive battle with Mitchell Trubisky and Hendon Hooker to secure the primary backup quarterback role behind projected starter Cam Ward. So as of right now, he is still showing up, still working, still competing, at least on paper. And there is one voice that matters more than any other in this conversation. New head coach Robert Saleh. Titans HC Robert Saleh shared his honest feelings on Will Levis. After Cam Ward's poor rookie season, Tennessee's new coach has a quarterback situation that's more layered than it looks. And at the 2026 NFL Combine, he addressed it directly. New coaching staff, new front office. A lot has changed in Tennessee since Levis was last seen on a practice field. And the understanding is that things have changed in terms of his standing on the team as well. The thinking is that Brian Daboll's presence as offensive coordinator and his reputation for working with quarterbacks is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. So get ready to see Levis around for a little while longer than you may have thought. The coaching staff believes there might still be something worth developing. Whether that conviction survives training camp is another matter entirely. Here's the reality of where things stand right now. Will Levis is still a Tennessee Titan. That's a fact that is easily lost at this stage in his career. After losing his starting job during a rocky 2024, being replaced by Cam Ward in 2025, and choosing to get shoulder surgery that knocked him out of this past football season, he has all but disappeared from the picture. The headline says Will Levis got cut by the Titans after his tape leaked. And the spirit of that headline captures something real. There is a version of the Will Levis story in which the tape, the injury, the benching, and the draft picks all collapse into one catastrophic fall from grace that ends with him gone from Tennessee. That narrative is real, and it is building. A solid expectation exists among those familiar with Titans GM Borgonzi that the team will explore trading Levis. The Kentucky product did not develop as hoped, and it came as little surprise when Ward was drafted as his replacement. But as of this moment, as of the Titans' 2026 OTAs, a report indicated Levis would likely be traded this offseason. But second-year GM Mike Borgonzi voiced an expectation that the struggling quarterback would have a role on the 2026 Titans. He has not been cut. He has not been traded. He is still there, still grinding, in the most uncomfortable possible position. A former franchise quarterback prospect fighting for a backup job with his private life plastered across the internet, and the entire NFL world debating whether he has any future at all. The content has been made largely inaccessible through major platforms, protecting Levis and Duddy's privacy to some extent. However, as we know, nothing is ever really deleted from the internet. The same could be said of a reputation. Once the damage is done on the field, off it, in the film room, in the tabloids, you can scrape and suppress and fight back, but the footprint remains. And Will Levis is living that reality right now in real time. What happens next in training camp, in the preseason, in whatever trade conversations quietly unfold between now and September, will determine whether Will Levis's NFL story ends in Tennessee or gets a second chapter somewhere else. But one thing is certain, it will not be a quiet ending either way.